Gilbert Arenas arrested and facing federal charges.
Arenas is expected to make his first appearance in a federal courtroom this afternoon.
He is charged with 1 count of conspiracy to operate an illegal gambling business.
What I'm about to tell you will change how you look at the NBA forever. This week, 2 massive arrests just rocked the basketball world. First, up Gilbert Arenas, aka Agent Zero, behind bars. Not for something petty, but for running illegal high-stakes poker games with actual organized crime figures. And then there's Marcus Morris, arrested at the airport in front of his family, owing casinos over $265,000. Sounds wild, right? But what if I told you? These aren't isolated incidents, because someone known only as Moose predicted all of this months ago. And when you find out who this mysterious figure really is and how deep this rabbit hole goes, you'll start to wonder if Adam Silver has lost control of his league, and if a dangerous underground gambling network is operating right under the NBA's nose. Let's break it all down. The Gilbert Arenas scandal, not just a poker night at first glance. You might think, what's the big deal? Gilbert Arenas hosting a poker night doesn't sound like news. Guys get together, play cards, maybe throw in a small buy-in. Happens all the time, but this was nothing like that, according to the Department of Justice. Between September 2021 and July 2022, Gilbert Arenas rented out a luxury mansion he owned to host high-stakes illegal poker games. Not casual games with old NBA buddies. This was a serious underground operation. The mansion was decked out with custom poker tables featuring Arenas' image, professional dealers, armed guards, and private chefs. And it doesn't stop there. There were young women hired to serve drinks, give massages, and allegedly offer other services to the high-rolling guests. One of those guests, a man named Yavgi Joera Gershmana, suspected senior member of an Israeli transnational organized crime group. So, let's be very clear, this wasn't just Gil trying to make some side cash. He was facilitating gambling for international criminals. This was organized crime. Period. And here's what should blow your mind. This isn't even his first brush with gambling-related controversy. Back in 2009, Arenas' NBA career derailed after bringing guns into the Washington Wizards locker room. Why? That incident reportedly stemmed from a dispute over, you guessed it, a high-stakes card game and gambling debts. So the league knew. The world knew. And somehow, no one kept tabs on him. Marcus Morris, a $265,000 casino disaster. Now, let's move to the Marcus Morris story, because this one feels like it was ripped straight from a crime movie. Imagine this. You're walking through an airport with your family. TSA checks your bags. Suddenly, handcuffs. Authorities swoop in and arrest you in front of your loved ones. That's what happened to Maurice. According to court documents obtained by TMZ Sports, Morris wrote bad checks to the MGM Grand in May 2024 for $115,000. He never paid the debt. 1 month later, he pulled the same stunt at the Wynn Las Vegas, writing checks for $150,000 knowing they'd bounce. That's $265,000 in fake checks. And now he's facing criminal charges. What's worse? Morris and his team are calling it a misunderstanding. They claim it wasn't intentional and that they're sorting it out. But in the casino world, bounced checks of that size aren't just financial errors, they're criminal offenses. The Nevada justice system doesn't play around with gambling fraud. The NBA's hidden pattern. And who is Moose? Now, step back for a second. Gilbert Arenas, Marcus Morris. These aren't no-name guys. Gilbert had a history with gambling and guns. Marcus was still active in the league just last season. Yet somehow, nobody in the NBA saw these red flags waving for years. And that's where the mystery deepens. Because weeks before these arrests became public, A mysterious figure named Moose posted on niche gambling forums and Reddit threads, claiming that an ex-NBA All-Star and a current journeyman are about to get caught up in major casino fraud and illegal games involving international crime. And guess what? His timeline matched perfectly. People tried to write him off as a troll, but now that his predictions are unfolding exactly as described, fans are scrambling to figure out who Moose really is. Is he a league insider, a whistleblower, or something more dangerous? Because if Moose knew, who else does? Is Adam Silver losing control? These two arrests, while different in details, point to a much bigger issue. The NBA may be dangerously exposed to gambling-related crime. We're not talking about betting apps or sponsorships here. We're talking about players and former stars getting roped into underground networks, international crime, and millions in fake checks. Adam Silver's push to embrace betting culture has backfired. What once looked like a financial goldmine is now a legal minefield. And unless the league steps in fast, the next headline could involve someone even bigger, because Moose might not be done talking. So you think the NBA has everything under control? Think again. Marcus Morris just got arrested at the airport in front of his wife and kids, and his response: "Did I go past the time I needed to repay? Yeah, I probably did. Did I know they would lock me up? Hell no." That's what he posted on Instagram. His agent, Yoni Noi, called it absolute insanity. Why? Because apparently, if you owe a casino more than $1,200 in Nevada and fail to pay, they can issue a warrant for your arrest. Let's stop right there. You're calling the arrest insanity, not the fact that you casually owe $250,000 like it's some lunch tab that tells you all you need to know about the culture behind these scandals. The problem isn't being broke. It's getting caught, and this Marcus Morris, writing bad checks to casinos and acting surprised he got handcuffed, isn't even the biggest story. This is just the tip of the iceberg. The pattern nobody wanted to see. Remember earlier when I said, there's a pattern forming? Let's start connecting the dots. Jontay Porter was banned from the NBA for life this year. Why? The league found out he violated multiple rules disclosing private health information to known sports bettors intentionally, limiting his playtime to help those bets hit, and worst of all, betting on NBA games himself. According to the league's investigation, someone placed an $80,000 parlay bet to win $1.1 million, based on Porter underperforming in a March 20th game. Guess what? Porter only played 3 minutes and then, mysteriously, checked out, claiming he didn't feel well, and when he pleaded guilty, it was all to escape crushing gambling debt. Now, rewind and think about Gilbert Arenas hosting illegal poker games involving organized crime. Marcus Morris writing $265,000 in bad checks. Jontay Porter betting on games he played in. A disturbing trend is forming: financial desperation, pushing players into darker and darker decisions. Then comes Terry Rozier. Here's one that'll make your jaw drop. According to ESPN, a professional gambler placed 30 bets in just 46 minutes, all focused on unders for Terry Rozier in a March 23, 2023 game. That's $13,759 in bets, and all of them hit. Why? Rozier left the game 10 minutes in, citing a foot issue, but get this, the league investigated and Rozier was cleared. Why? Because apparently he's just that bad. No conspiracy, no fix, just underperformance, so consistent it made him look guilty. That's almost funny. Almost. And then there's Malik Beasley. This one's under active investigation right now. According to ESPN, the feds are now looking into Malik Beasley for gambling-related activity during the 2023 to 2024 NBA season, back when he was playing for the Milwaukee Bucks, and the red flags are everywhere. a lawsuit from Beasley's former marketing agency revealed that he was in serious financial trouble. He allegedly failed to repay a $650,000 advance earlier this year. And this is a guy who's earned nearly $60 million over a 9-year NBA career. Just like Jonty, just like Marcus. Big money, bad decisions, deeper debts. So who is Moose? And how did he know? Now here's where it gets terrifying. There's a mysterious figure online known only as Moose. He started posting on gambling forums and Twitter months before any of these stories broke, predicting NBA players who would be exposed for betting scandals. Sound fake? Too crazy. Then let me lay this out for you. When the Terry Rozier news dropped, an anonymous account named @ReMuseNBA tweeted, "First was Jonty, then was Rozier. Next, you'll hear about the capital M for asterisks, capital B, and then 6 asterisks. That's Malik Beasley, 5 months before the media said anything about him. But here's the bombshell. In an investigation from Pablo Torre's podcast, Pablo Finds Out, they connected the alias Moose to a real person named Omar. Omar is Facebook friends with Omar Odd, a deli owner in New York who's been accused of conspiring with Jonte Porter in the very scandal that got him banned. When asked if he knew Omar, he denied it, but social media shows they're cousins. Multiple photos of them together exist. That means the guy accurately predicting NBA investigations is related to someone directly tied to the Jonte Porter case. This isn't speculation anymore. This is an organized network with inside knowledge systematically targeting NBA players vulnerable to financial collapse and personal weakness. Adam Silver's gamble is backfiring now. We have to talk about the man behind the curtain, Adam Silver. Back in 2014, he wrote a now infamous op-ed in the New York Times titled "Legalize and Regulate Sports Betting." He was the first major sports league commissioner to publicly back sports gambling. And now, with 4 players tangled in gambling scandals, some banned, some arrested, some under investigation, does he regret it? Nope. Silver told the Associated Press, "I still think you can't turn the clock back. We don't legalize sports betting. People are going to find ways to do it illegally." So what did he really do? He opened the floodgates. Now players, desperate for money, are gambling, faking injuries, leaking information, and possibly throwing games. And worse, there are people like Moose profiting off it all from the shadows. The NBA isn't just in trouble. It's at war with something it created and can no longer control. The NBA doesn't just have a gambling problem, has a full-blown crisis. And at the center of it all is a commissioner who saw the warning signs and decided to ignore them anyway. Let's start with what NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has been saying in defense of the league's rapidly growing ties to the sports betting industry. After the federal ban on sports gambling was overturned in 2018, Americans legally wagered $125 billion in just the first 4 years. And the NBA didn't just accept that reality, jumped in with both feet. Today, the league has over 24 partnerships with gaming companies, including DraftKings, FanDuel, and PrizePicks. Yet when asked about the financial impact, Silver told NBC Sports that it's not a huge business for us in terms of revenue. Instead, he said it's more about fan engagement. Let's be honest. When the league is pocketing millions from betting companies while its own players are being arrested, banned, or federally investigated, that defense rings hollow. But this isn't the first time Silver's seen what gambling can do to the league. The NBA has been here before, back in 2007. Referee Tim Donaghy pleaded guilty to betting on games he officiated, sparking one of the biggest scandals in NBA history. At the time, then Commissioner David Stern halted any expansion of gambling discussions. And Adam Silver, who was already a high-ranking NBA executive, publicly questioned how the league's internal systems failed to detect the scheme. So Adam Silver knew he saw firsthand how gambling could threaten the league's integrity. And yet, when he became commissioner, he didn't just allow it. He championed it in 2014. Silver wrote a New York Times op-ed pushing for the legalization of sports betting, arguing it was better to regulate than ignore. Fast forward a decade, and the NBA is now reaping the financial rewards while its players are falling into legal chaos. The cost of financial desperation, the most disturbing part of these gambling scandals. Many of the players involved have earned millions, but are now financially desperate. Let's take Malik Beasley. Despite making nearly $60 million during his NBA career, Beasley is now at the center of a federal investigation into gambling activity, tied to his time with the Milwaukee Bucks in 2021. South River Capital won a $5.8 million judgment against him. Then in August 2024, he signed a loan agreement pledging his future NBA contracts as collateral. He's also been sued by a barber in Milwaukee for $26,827 and lost a $34,390 judgment to a Minnesota dentist. These are not one-time mistakes. This is a pattern of financial mismanagement that leads players into dangerous territory. Beasley isn't alone. Jontay Porter was banned for life after it was revealed he leaked confidential injury information and manipulated his own playing. Time to assist gamblers who placed $80,000 parlay bets tied to his performance. Why? Because he was buried in gambling debt. Marcus Morris, arrested at the airport in front of his family, owes over $265,000 to casinos. And his defense. He said he didn't think they'd actually arrest him. His agent called the situation insanity. But not because of the debt, because of the arrest itself. When players treat massive gambling losses like it's no big deal, something is deeply broken. Detection isn't the victory it seems. Make matters worse, the league is trying to spin this as proof that its detection systems are working. Adam Silver said, "What we're seeing in some investigations is operational data, crediting betting companies and independent agencies for flagging suspicious activity. In the Terry Rozier case, where a professional bettor placed 30 unders on Rozier minutes before a game he exited early. A company called US Integrity issued a nationwide alert at 2:24 p.m. on game day. But here's the real question: if the NBA's systems are so effective, then why are podcasters like Pablo Torre and underground sources like Moose exposing these schemes months before the league does? And how is it that federal investigators are now stepping in to police behavior the NBA should have identified long ago? This isn't proactive regulation. This is reactionary damage control. A culture built around gambling. What's even more dangerous is the normalization of gambling across the entire NBA landscape. Once upon a time, betting odds weren't shown during games. Now, they're baked into broadcasts. Back in 1954, Jack Molinas was banned from the NBA for gambling, the last player to receive that punishment, till Jontay Porter in 2024. But here's the difference. In 1954, the NBA treated gambling like a threat. Today, it's a business model. The NBA earned $10.9 billion in revenue in 2023, a 44.5% increase from the previous year. A major reason for that spike: gambling partnerships, so when players get caught up in debt, take out loans against future contracts, or rig their own performances to win bets. It's not just personal failure, it's the predictable result of a league that promotes gambling but doesn't protect its athletes from it. This is bigger than a few bad apples. This isn't just a handful of poor decisions. We have organized crime figures hosting poker nights with ex-NBA stars, active players writing bad checks to casinos, multiple players facing federal investigation, a mysterious figure named Moose predicting investigations before they happen with family ties to known conspirators, and a commissioner who knew. The risks witnessed the consequences in 2007 and still chose to build the league's future around gambling revenue. Silver once said, "Just because there's insider trading doesn't mean you shut down the stock market." But this isn't Wall Street. This is basketball. And the integrity of the game isn't just a feature, it's the foundation. When that falls apart, so does everything else. The NBA doesn't have a scandal. It has a systemic crisis, and it's getting worse.